Hey guys, Khalid from Cricket Fanatics Magazine here, and obviously we have our first birthday is today, and I think it was an awesome time for us to bring the whole team back together, the team that started it all from the beginning, and just have a chat about various things that we've done and various things that have been going on throughout the year. So first of all, welcome to everybody over here that has joined today. I'm really excited about this one. And I think I'm going to go around the room and just let each of you just say something that about the last year, some maybe a moment that stood out to you, and maybe a few words to the fans out there. So let's go. We start with Alistair, Craig, Ungama, Emily, and then Nabila.
Yeah, so look, I mean, it's a year goes by quite quickly. I've got tons of good times. I just wanted to actually say overview was more like uh, the start was quite fun up in Rhodes Mem and a few articles, and we had a hectic World Cup, and it seems like a fair amount of kind of the misfiring of the national side has still been going on, but they're going through the rebuilding, and I like to think that this platform's been part of that. And then the main kind of good times for me is seeing how uh, everything has flourished, especially during lockdown. You've been doing a fantastic job with the lockdown diaries. You're adding shows, it's fresh content. You look at other platforms, I'm not going to mention names, but it's quite dreary and boring. It's just going through tweet deck and finding information, where at least here it's I mean, I've seen some amazing stuff. So I'm sure I'll share a few happy things or a loss just now, but that's just one of my kind of throw into to your answer there.
Yeah, dude, I think for me, what I've thoroughly enjoyed is just especially the first sort of month and a half that when we started. I mean, that was a ton of fun, just like chilling, smashing out content. I think we wrote I think at one point our plan was to write like 3 or 4 articles a day, and I know at one point in an 8-day period we wrote 64 articles, and that was fun, dude. Just to just sort of lay the groundwork, and I think the concept is so cool, and it's definitely something that has longevity to it, because it's all about it's fan driven essentially, and you're giving guys like myself, Alistair, Emily, Ongama, and everyone such a cool platform to sort of express our views as fans, whereas other publications and stuff wouldn't really necessarily value what we have to say as fans. So that for me has been sick. I mean, I know we started at SA Cricket Magazine together in 2017, and yeah, I mean, I was always too nervous to actually put my opinion on paper, or put my finger to the keyboard, whatever you want to call it. But you've really sort of instilled that confidence in me to actually back what I have to say, and put it out there for people to read, and either enjoy or just sort of tear to shreds. But it's been a fun journey so far, and long may it continue. Cool, man.
Yeah, I just want to throw in there, sorry, one more thing. Obviously, you guys know I've worked with Khalid. We go back at Highbury. I saw a lot of great stuff and ideas that he came, fresh ideas, and the video content was amazing. And I think what one needs to look at is just kind of how it's gone forward in the last 3 months, and that Khalid's trying to look forward to other avenues. And I think that was the philosophy when this whole thing started, was to look at it from a fanatics point of view, and something new and fresher than just run-of-the-mill content that is stale and not going through any new changes. Yeah, sorry.
For me, the past year has been, yeah. Thing is, I stopped playing cricket at a very young age, because of school. I was very good in science and maths, so my parents sort of channeled me in that direction. So for me to be given an opportunity to, just do what I love, you know, just contribute in South African cricket. You know, that has been amazing for me. You know, and obviously from there, just learning about myself, what type of content that I want to put out. Khalid obviously giving me the space and an opportunity to sort of find myself, and find my feet in the industry. You know, I think a lot of people would recognize that the first articles that I put out, they're very similar to how almost everyone writes their articles, especially Khalid. But then, yeah, right now, it's way different. You can tell that Ongama is the one that wrote the article, you know. So yeah, man, the standout moment for me for the past 12 months, I actually have a very bad experience, which is that India tour. You know, it's very nice to just watch games of cricket and not have anything to say about them. You know, but then like watching the Proteas getting thrashed by India and then having to work, having to write those articles, it was just a horrible experience for me. You know, that was very bad. I mean, like waking up at 4 a.m., Khalid telling me that, okay, yeah, you're gonna have to write 3 articles for the day's play, and then these guys are getting trashed. You know, yeah, that for me was one of the most horrible experiences of the last 12 months. You know, but then yeah, getting my accreditation from CSA, that was a standout moment for me. Yeah, and just meeting everyone, you know, in the media industry, you know, and sort of putting my own mark in the industry. Yep, that's sort of summarizes the whole year for me.
Yeah, me joining the team was sort of an interesting experience. So one of my friends in our film class actually messaged the film class because he's friends with Craig, and he messaged the class and he's like, guys, this magazine is looking for like someone who can create video content for them, like is anyone keen? And then he messaged me as well because he knew I like love cricket, and he was like, it's cricket and film together, like both of your passions together, like what could be better? So I was like, yeah, this is really cool. Let me think about it. I had a thought for like 5 seconds and I was like, nah, this is a no-brainer. Spoke to Craig, spoke to Khalid, and yeah, that's basically how the opportunity started, which was really cool. And yeah, I joined the team like a few months in, but it was really cool to just like create content, like video content, even though I was still like studying at the time, so like wasn't that good at it yet. But just like learning through that and like practicing my editing more and stuff, that was really cool. So yeah, I just thank you for the opportunity to like join the team, Khalid. And yeah, I just hope there'll be many more. Yeah, I think what's really been cool for me, like out of this whole experience thus far, is like definitely the Parox Media Day. That was quite cool. Could like film that whole thing. So yeah, that was that's been the highlight so far. Yeah.
Okay, for me, I read a lot of highlights, I'd say. But I just want to say that one of my standouts was getting to interview Karan Tabeni, even though it's a cricket magazine. I really enjoyed that, and that's what I like about like the experiences being at the games and all the interviews that I've done. Very out of my comfort zone. I suppose thank you, Khalid, for pushing me to do that. You get to meet so many interesting people, and like from a fanatic or from a fan's point of view, it's interesting to see the player behind the scenes, what they really like, and just how down to earth and sort of humble a lot of them are. And what I like about like everybody in the team and my whole year with Cricket Fanatics is that you learn so much from everyone. Like I learned so much from all of you guys, because I feel like I'm the wild card pick, sorry. Like thrown a bit in the deep end. But it pushes me to want to try and be better, work harder. And Alistair and Khalid, very inspirational people. Like, I look up to you all. I don't think I ever say that. Even on Gamma and Craig and just reading what you guys write, there's a lot to learn. That's my message of Keep It Short.
So
Yes.
thank you, all of that. That was awesome messages from all of you. There's obviously there's been comings and goings with the whole team. I thank all of you guys to sticking to the core and actually pushing through. It's been a lot of difficult times. Me and Nabila's have difficult times. Me and Craig has had some clashes. Ungama even, there's times we're calling each other and we're having long arguments about whether you should post something, whether you should not. Me and Alistair, I haven't argued with Emily yet, but I don't think it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon. Just to say, from my point of view, just want to say something to all of you. And obviously, when I started this and when I decided to do this, I was lost kind of with how I was going to go forward with this. Starting off with Craig at the beginning, he coming to my house in the mornings. We'd be sitting together and writing articles every single day, having a bit of laugh. I don't know if you guys get it, but that's just Craig's humor, and that's what keeps me. That has kept me alive for a long time. That he can actually keep me down to earth consistently, and he makes me realize that I need to just like sometimes just not let my head go ahead of me or my ego go ahead of me, and just sit back and say, okay, there's still a lot of work to do in going forward. So it started off like that, and meeting with Nabila. I'll never forget the day we met. Actually, when it was at. Initially, first of all, she won tickets for a previous company that we were at, and then I contacted afterwards. We met up at Canal Walk, and we had a chat about everything. She was quite quiet, which you guys know her. As if you get to know her, she's quite talkative, and she can be quite talkative, but her personality can be quite big. She doesn't agree, but yeah, that's how I see her. But yeah, so her coming on board. I wouldn't say there was any incentive with regards to anything besides the fact that we had a digital publication, and that's what we were going to do. But for any of you to get on board with me and see the dream and see the future and see where we are going with this and believing in that, I have to say thank you for that specifically. It's been a very difficult, struggling testing period. There was a lot of times where when I did at the beginning like especially with coronavirus, thinking about how we're going to do content, whether you should give this up or not give it up is always something that you think about. And I think that the first topic of the first issue of the magazine, which we'll be launching today, it's all about resilience and the art of resilience. And I think that all of you guys showed that throughout the year, and all of you guys have shown that particular theme. And that's why I think the theme is so important, that we can show people out there, fans out there, as well as players out there, that resilience is key to success. And there's so many cricketers that show it. You guys show it every single day. So thank you for everybody for coming with me on this journey. And I hope it's going to grow continuously. Yeah, so
yeah, I sort of also bounce off with what you've said there, because it does resonate quite a lot with me, because I think there was more dark times for you in June last year, and you came out of it, and I said to you at the time that it was kind of already mapped out for you, and you decided to take the plunge. And a lot of people don't take that plunge, and they often have regrets. And you've built something pretty damn good. It's still in its process, and obviously having 1 year today is an amazing achievement, as far as I'm concerned. It's been a very interesting journey. The amount of video content that you've produced, and quality video content that gives a lot of, it promotes players that we don't normally hear of, who off the radar, younger players. And then obviously in the trying time, I mean, you and I have had quite a few conversations during lockdown, existential crisis. It's almost like Groundhog Day, Groundhog Month, Groundhog Year. But yet you've been able to dream up great ideas and still kind of move forward, because a lot of people are only jumping onto what you were doing 3 months ago now, and you're looking always to kind of develop a new form of ways of showing the game, because you love the game, and that's the root of where this is at. And it's been special. We've had interesting times. I mean, the change of Mark Boucher being the coach, us winning the first test, and then obviously the rebuilding phase. We've watched that. We watched India pound us, but it's also a good learning curve. It's a good learning curve for Ngama, because sometimes you have to write about things you don't like. Sometimes you have to write about things at 2:00 in the morning. Remember the ball tampering scandal, Khalid? You were in the media center till 2:00 in the morning. No one saw that coming. You had to be back there at 6:00 the next morning, 4 hours sleep. But you were running on adrenaline, and you learned a lot. And I think you've taken that energy into this whole beautiful thing that's growing as we speak. Yeah.
So I've learned a lot from you guys, and I want to go into that next. So I'm going to start with Nabila. Nabila, when you started at the beginning, at first you weren't keen to maybe do video content or do the interviews, but I saw you blossom into someone really special with the mic in your hand. And I don't know if you know that, and I don't know if you've seen that, but the way your confidence grew, etc., doing those fan interviews and player interviews has been remarkable. So I kind of want to ask you.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. So I kind of want to ask you, like, what was that like for you? I mean, that experience, starting from the beginning and then having to interview fans, if that's not normally your thing.
It was interesting doing the interviews. I think every single time I did one, I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm nervous. Like, that's how I felt every single time. And I was like, hello, I don't want to do this. But when I did it, and I was like, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's interesting speaking to so many different personalities and learning more about the fans and why they come to the games and like their passion in cricket, or just being a fan and being a fanatic. So that was interesting.
And Emily, seeing that Nabila said that about the fans, you started off as a crazy cricket fan, and that's how I met you. You in love with cricket, and that's one of the qualities that I love about you, is because that you're so passionate about the game itself, and that comes through. It will come through during your video content. I think the more that you do it, and the more that you're in it and to making it, because there hasn't been too many opportunities for you to do it yet. There's a lot of legal factors that we need to take into consideration and stuff. But that opportunity, the way I saw you at the Paul Rocks launch, especially, the way you were in your element, you were coming up, you and the way you and Nabila and Naima before were working together, and what you guys were doing behind in the background. All of those things that you were coming up with these new ideas and fresh ideas. So for you as a cricket fan coming into the industry now, you'll be able to maybe give us some good insight into the switch on how to compartmentalize the difference of being a fan and then, oh shit, I have to work.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's like you said, I still, like, I was a super fan, still am. But I think what I had to realize, and what you sort of scolded me for and sort of helped me realize, was that you gotta know, like, okay, you're a fan now and like you're working now. So it's just sort of like that mindset of like switching between being like a fangirl and being like serious when you need to work, and sort of not mixing the two things. So that was really, really helpful. But I think I'm very similar to like Nabila in the sense of like, when we had to interview someone, or when I had to like film her interviewing someone, like I still get nervous because I'm like, oh my God, this guy's like standing in front of me, like, oh. But yeah, like it was, I mean, obviously I got like more comfortable like as we went through it and stuff. But yeah, I think it was just making that distinction, which is important, and like not fangirling when you have to work. So yeah, that was, you helped me realize that. But I just actually wanted to add into something Alistair was saying earlier, in that like with the whole content thing that you're doing, Khalid, like I appreciate like how much content you're bringing out, and like the sort of like the vastness of content, and like the difference, like the whole of like different content that you're bringing out, like not just like lockdown, but you know, speaking with Ravi in those conversations, and just like a whole, you know, like players in, you know, like black players and white players and that whole like transformation thing, like so many different topics that you're speaking about. And I really just also appreciate how much like you're bringing the fans, like you're keeping that at the center, like bringing the fans to the players and like bringing them closer. And that's just like the difference, I'd say, like with our magazine, is that you really just focused on like the fans and the players in that relationship, and just bringing out a whole lot of different content, and it's always interesting. So yeah, appreciate that, Khalid, and the team. Thanks.
Next, I want to ask Craig. Craig, for you, you're a golf fan, and a lot of people might not know that about you. You're a massive golf fanatic, and you are a cricket fan as well. You do love your cricket. But for you to be able to switch between the two, and grow yourself as a writer, what's been key with regards to that for you?
Yeah, so I mean, without trying to sound cheesy or whatever, in a lot of ways, you've kind of been, because you started the lockdown series, I think, pretty early on into the lockdown. And yeah, I mean, I watched the first sort of 20, 30 episodes religiously, and learned a lot from the way you interact with whoever you're interviewing. And then I sort of started my own sort of podcast and stuff, and incorporated that, that sort of visual component in it as well, and those live streams as well. And it, just sort of, I think that I'm not really answering your question, but I think that is one thing I've certainly learned from you is, how to interact with players and make the content interesting. From a writing standpoint, I mean, it's weird. I haven't actually done a hell of a lot of golf writing in the last while. It's more sort of been like I work for SA Disabled Golf as well, but I've only recently started like a newsletter for my blog, and that's sort of been, it's, I suppose the writing, the Cricket Fanatics writing has helped in that it's taught me to not really make content sort of stale, and always try and find like a new angle and something, and write in a way that and make people think in a way that they wouldn't otherwise, they wouldn't really think to think about a certain topic in a particular way. So I think that's certainly the one thing I have learned. But as I say, I mean, a lot of the growth I've undergone in the last year has been as a direct result of interacting with you, picking your brain, and seeing what's ultimately made you successful. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Yeah.
And Ngama, I'm going to get to you before I get to Alistair, before we sign off, because obviously we know with the Zoom, I don't have the paid version, so you're going to run out of time. So we've got about 6 minutes left. Ngama, I'm going to ask you, coming into the scene, turning from fan to journalist, that switch for you, what has been your best experiences with regards to that, or how did you manage to make that a success?
Okay. Like I said before, the past 12 months for me, it's I've really been able to find myself in who am I as a writer, what type of stories do I want to write, and how big of an impact do I want to have, So for me, I remember in that PE test match against England, we interviewed Telford Vice. I don't know if you still remember that. And he said something that you've been telling me in the months prior to that day. He said that his advice for upcoming writers is that they should write from the heart, and then from that day, I've really had time to sort of think as to what is it that I feel, what is it that I want to write, who do I want to represent, and from there, it's been very easy for me to just express myself, to go for the stories that I want to go for, stories that really mean a lot to me, and stories that I feel aren't being talked about, So for me, I've done a lot of learning from you, from other people also, Lungani, Lungani Zama, I've learned a lot from him, just reading his stories. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me, you know, from fan to a journalist. And another thing is that I didn't really see myself as a fan, you know, and I feel that was very important for me at that stage, is that I see myself as a journalist, you know, so that I can be able to produce the type of content that's needed, that Cricket Fanatics Magazine is going to benefit from, the type of level, you know, the quality. So yeah, that's my journey from fan to journalist. Yeah.
Alistair, you specifically have been key to all of this, keeping us together, keeping things fun, keeping things obviously light-hearted as well, giving us some amazing insights into cricket itself. I'm amazed by your encyclopedia that you have in that brain of yours. We can talk.
Yeah, it's like a Wikipedia.
Exactly, and it's incredible. So, like, for you, what kind of advice can you give people out there that are trying to maybe make a mark on themselves? I mean, you obviously have to juggle work life and obviously work at writing articles for Cricket Fanatics as well,
and parents and all of that. I just think some powerful words from OG there. I think the best advice I could give is read a lot, you know, but like write your own style, and as Telford said, write from the heart. So don't like kind of base your writing on how others or your favorite write. To take an essence from them, maybe, you know, maybe some humor, but actually write from the heart and as concise as you can. You know, no one likes to waffle. I see Craig likes to waffle when he talks, but no, just kidding. But it's just, it's right from the heart, basically. And be yourself, be true to yourself in your writing, and always, you know, less words means more. Yeah.
So guys, that's about all the time that we have right now for this. I think that I'm going to start a new video, and then we can maybe talk about some fun things. But just to end off this part of the video, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks everybody for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and join this journey that we're on, because it's not going to stop. This is just the beginning. Happy 1 year anniversary to everybody, and we'll see everybody again soon.